Hello, all, and welcome to a new episode of the Horror Countdown Podcast. I'm your host, Don Anelli, and with me tonight is one of my true brothers in podcasting, my buddy, Derek Bourgeois.
Hey, what's going on, Don? It's kind of weird that it's just us because it's usually you, me, and somebody else.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we do a bunch of shows together, and usually either I'm guesting on your shows or we're doing other shows with our friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be kind of unique, just you and the two of us. But what's going on, man?
Eh, it's been going. Actually, this is kind of like my first recording of the new year, kind of, besides a few guest spots that I recorded. Uh, so, yeah, I've been kind of taking it a little bit easy for the first 2 months. Hopefully, to get back in there, soon. A lot of personal slash stuff that's come up with my usual shows has kind of partaken, cinema attack in a way where
Yeah,
we're just trying to figure out a schedule, but some personal life shit comes in the way, which it comes first.
yeah,
This
exactly.
is
Yeah,
this just a hobby for us, and
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know the trials and tribulations of that, but yeah. So for tonight's episode, we decided to do our top 10 British horror films. So since this was your pick, let's get a little background on the choice.
a lot of people kind of like put me as like the Japanese horror or like the Italian horror guy because I usually post a lot about that. But UK horror is actually kind of the way I got into horror. It's one of my gateway horrors was like the old Hammer and Amicus movies. Like the first horror movie that I actually ever seen was well, actually, I shouldn't say that because this movie might be actually on my list, so I might save that for that. But one of the first horror movies I ever seen was a UK horror movie, and the thing that I gravitated, it's different than the America. It kind of has like that atmospheric stuff that the Italians did, but it's a little bit different, more gothic setting kind of stuff. Usually, some of their period piece horror movies. The thing that gravitated me to, I never get to really talk about British horror films in the sense where I love a lot of them, especially some of the, like the sleazier shit later on in the '70s that they did. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean, yeah. I've kind of a little bit different. I saw a lot of them growing up too, as well. I mean, I kind of I kind of got exposed to foreign horror through British and then Italian and stuff like that. But yeah, this was a pretty fun topic. So let's dive in and let's start off with your number 10.
my number 10 is probably the most newest movie on the list, and it's David Bruckner's The Ritual. Uh, uh, yeah, this one's fucking beautiful to look at. I love it's about like this bunch of these few British friends that go on like this journey to Sweden and they go in the woods and when they get into the woods, they get lost. And when they find what's making them get lost, it doesn't end well for them. And spoiler alert, if we can spoil shit on these movies, right?
Yeah, yeah. As long as you do the warning that you just did, so
Yeah, spoiler.
yeah.
When you find out that this is a creature feature and this Jotun monster, which is the bastard son of Loki, comes on, it is probably one of the most unique creature designs I ever seen from a movie in a while. And when you see it, it's absolutely terrifying when you see like a good glimpse of it when it's first revealed to us, even though there's little shadows of it actually throughout the movie on rewatch, which I kind of like. And great performance by the main dude, Rafe Spall, who uh, fans of like British comedy horror would probably recognize him from his role when he was a lot younger and chubbier in Shaun of the Dead as Sean's coworker. That says "You got red on you," which is kind of cool because then he's now young, all older and jacked and shit. But he kind of looked like his dad more, who's uh, Timothy Spall. But
Mm.
you know, yeah, I just love the atmosphere of this one. David Bruckner's a director that I'm looking forward to whatever he does next because I even love like his shorts from VHS. His short from the first VHS is probably the best one of the bunch of Amateur Night. But yeah, this movie just hit me in the right spots and yeah, good creature feature slash like folk horror movie from this time period, you know.
Uh, Yeah, I have it as an honorable mention. I love the first two thirds of this. I'm kind of a little torn off on the third act. It kind of goes off the rails for me in kind of the wrong way a little, but no, the first two thirds. This is on my list. It's on my list for the first two thirds. I love it. Like you said, the atmosphere is impressive. The creature is just absolutely jaw dropping when you see it, and the brutality is fantastic. I love it, but
Yes.
yeah, it just missed my list. It's on my honorable mentions, but yeah, solid choice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number 10 will probably be a common theme for most of the show for me tonight. My number 10 is the Gorgon.
Nice. Uh
Yeah, one of my favorite Hammer films. I mean, this is Cushing and Lee at their best. Oh wait, no, this is actually Lee. 'Cause, yeah, Cushing's not in this one. I forgot.
no, he is. He's the bad guy in this one. It's actually weird. He's
Oh,
the
this is
evil
the one.
doctor.
Yeah, this is the one where they switch. That's right. Yeah. Ugh, God, I chose a movie and I can't even keep the facts straight. But yeah, Gorgon is fantastic. Basically, real quickly, a professor arrives in a small hamlet to investigate his students' claims that there's something going wrong, and discovers that it's being haunted by this ancient mythological being that, like I said, spoiler alert, may or may not be romantically involved with him. Uh, Absolutely fantastic atmosphere. The creature a little on the cheesy side, so it's kind of higher on my list, but it pulls it off well. The This is just a fantastic gothic tour de force. The fast-paced, absolutely amazing set designs, great creature, sequences. Even though it kind of looks a little goofy, I mean, the attacks are fantastic, and people get turned to stone, which is always fun. So, I've always said this was one of the more underrated efforts in Hammer, and I'm a huge fan of the Gorgon. So, my number 10.
Yeah, man. I actually, for my own sake, I actually cut a lot of Hammer off of my list because honestly, you could just do a whole list of Hammer horror on its own. You know,
Yeah, I
that's
know. I'm probably gonna end up doing that at some point, but
yeah, 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 yeah. But the Gorgon's fantastic. I actually just rewatched it this last October for my 31 days and did a review on my YouTube channel for it. And,
nice.
and a and a big shout out to Barbara Shelley, one of my favorite Hammer girls, who played.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff.
yeah. All right, so let's move on to number 9.
Number nine is a little gem of a movie that I first heard of because I'm gonna give a shout out to my buddy Rob from Georgia. You probably seen his like post on the 22 shots page before. He's part of like the Body Bags YouTube channel. Uh, but he always talked about this movie, and I picked up a copy of it, and it's Tower of Evil, aka Horror on Snape Island, which man, this movie's atmosphere when that's the opening shot of like you see like the lighthouse with the fog all surrounding it. You know, I was in, and the thing about this movie, it's kind of a proto slasher film where it's about this group of scientists that go to this island. Actually, let me back up a bit because it's actually interesting because the beginning of the movie is actually kind of feels like the end of another slasher movie where they find the final girl and they bring her back and she tells the story and then they go to investigate and there might be some buried treasure in there's mountains of that island too, but then they get picked off one by one by this unseen killer where you only get to see his hands and his weapons at first. And very ahead of its time for the time period. And I just love movies that take place on islands in general. Well, like, I talked about that recently when we did Island of Terror, where it just adds like a containment because you're on this block of land, but you're surrounded by water, and the only way to get off is a boat. If you can't get to a boat in time, you're fucked. You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of this as well. A lot of what you said, did a gothic atmosphere, sleaze with a proto slasher feel. Yeah, I love it. I wish the killer would have been a little more threatening, but yeah, no, this is a solid pick. I'm a big fan of this one as well. Not
Yeah.
enough to make my list, but yeah, I'm a big fan of this one as well.
The thing I also like about it, I should add, is uh, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna mention a movie which might spoil kind of like the plot twist, but Hell Knight ripped this movie off with the twist.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but ironically, I was doing some background research on this. That who the director of this, Jim Connolly. You know what other movie he's known for directing?
I know. I remember reading this one time, and then the name escapes me.
Valley of Gwanji.
That was him, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah.
which is weird because it's just like this like Ray Harryhausen dinosaur movie, and then he did this fucking movie.
Well, did he also do one of the Hammer Caveman films? When dinosaurs ruled the earth, or
He might have. I know he did another proto slasher in the early late '60s called Berserk with Joan Crawford.
I've never heard of that one.
It's pretty good. It takes place all in like this carnival.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of Circus of Fear or something.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those movies that kind of meld together for me too. I understand completely, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'd have to look into that because yeah, this is kind of melding together. But no, this is yeah. Tower of Evil, Horror in Snape Island, Beyond the Fog. I mean, that's another title I know it under, but yeah, great choice. My number 9 is Curse of the Demon.
Nice.
I love this movie. So basically, a professor is investigating the claims of this strange aristocrat who has control over this strange monster who eliminates his enemies for him. And the deeper he gets in, the deeper he finds that the monster may not be the most threatening beast in the threatening beast after him. This is just fantastic and chilling. I'm a big fan of what this one does. I love the creature design. Basically, it feels very much like the Hal Luton RKO stuff from like the early 40s.
That makes sense because actually,
Yeah, it's
this is from the director of Cat People, Jack Nice Tourneau.
yeah. Like I said, I mean, if you're a fan of like those kinds of atmospheres drenched films, not a lot of action, but it's chilling in the right ways when you let yourself get into it. I love this. I have a lot of fun with it. I'm not entirely sure the difference between this and the American cut because the American cut called it Night of the Demon, and they supposedly changed a little bit around of it, but I've never seen the American cut, so I don't know what that one is. But if you watch the original version, the Curse of the Demon cut, it's a lot of fun. Fantastic twist ending. I love the chase at the end. Great atmosphere. Just yeah, it's an old school kind of a film, but it's a lot of fun, and I really recommend it. So
Yeah, I dig this one a lot too. It didn't make my list, unfortunately, but it's a fantastic movie. Tourneau's an interesting director because I was a huge fan of the Cat People, the original, because it's kind of the movie that started the first jump scare. And he came from like the film noir background, and a lot of his movies add that value of like, uh, using noir techniques in a sense where Cat People used to this movie also uses it. Uh, but then later he did Comedy of Terrors, which was odd.
Yeah, that that one just seems so. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Because like I'm saying, it's like you realize that he does like classy, moody, atmospheric, drenched, like you said, like noir kind of dark genre fare, and then all of a sudden he just does this offbeat slapstick comedy with Vincent Price, Boris Karloff, and Peter Lorre, or I should say Peter Lorre's stunt double,
yeah.
because he's in
So
that as much as he is.
yeah, uh, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and also big shout out to Sam Raimi for like remaking this movie as Drag Me to Hell, right?
yeah, yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, because it kind of cops the same ending.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So with that, let's move to number 8.
Number eight is going to be a controversial pick because it's, of course, this director's work is divisive around the circles of film, and that's Pete Walker. And then, of course, is Frightmare from 1973, or I think it's 73 or 4. Uh, this movie, the first time I seen it, I'm like, this is just a fucking bizarre movie, because it's like a day in the life of like these people that just get released for being cannibals. And I just love the performances in this one. Sheila Keith as the main like lady who's like, "Oh, come to my house. I'll do tarot readings," and she fucking kills you with a drill, with like this orgasm face on her face. Like and, I kind of like like this thing where like the dad was even a cannibal. He just did it because he was in love with his wife, and he went to jail for no reason because he's just stuck and his family's fucked. There's some weird offbeat humor within the movie, even though it ends very darkly. But
Mm.
yeah, Pete Walker movies usually do, and yeah, I just like this one for what it is. The performances are great. Some of the imagery's fucking nightmare fuel, like that dream sequence the one sister has with the lady in the meat.
Mm.
But yeah, kind of cheesy, but I like it.
I gotta be honest. I've never seen a single one of his films. Um, I've heard of him. I mean, I know some of his films like Frightmare and Confessional, and there's a couple of others that I've kind of just picked up the names just by being around. But yeah, I've never actually seen one of his films, so he's kind of a black hole for me.
Yeah. If I would recommend, I would say check out the Flesh and Blood show. That one's pretty fun. It's kind of like an early proto slasher. It's from the same year as Tower of Evil, 1972.
Hmm.
And he did another one in 78 called The Comeback, which is about like this singer that's trying to make a comeback, hence the title of the movie, where he goes to, like this loft mansion to write his new album, and then people around him start to get killed one by one by this mass killer,
Hmm.
which kind of crazy because it's kind of like a hag mask like in Curtains.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's a cool movie. I actually like his work a lot. It's kind of sleazy, but then he later goes on to do his final movie, which is House on Long Shadows, which is exuberant because it's like Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, and John Carradine. It's the last time these like four dudes were in a movie together.
Ooh.
So it's like it's kind of comedic. It's kind of like a dark comedy in a sense. And they play, and all four of those actors play on their archetypes of their careers. It's kind of funny.
I don't think I've ever seen that, and I thought I'd seen everything from Vincent Price. I'm gonna have to track that one down.
Yeah, it's good. It was.
Yeah, because I'm saying I could have sworn I'd seen everything Price had ever done. So if you're saying he's in this, and I got to track this one down because I thought I'd seen his whole career.
Yeah, I think it's one of Cushing's last movies too. So you gotta definitely see it.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, I know Cushing and Lee. I mean, they're on my list pretty predominantly. But yeah, I could have sworn I had seen everything from Price. So yeah, I got to track that one down for sure. But the other stuff sounds pretty interesting.
Hell yeah. Pete Walker's an interesting dude. He kind of gets lumped into like the Norman J. Warren camp, where
Oh, okay, yeah.
because they have a lot more sleazier aspects to their movies, and
Mm,
they both co-directed porn on their off time of making movies. You
oh,
have
okay.
yeah, but they have interesting aspects to their movies that I like too.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're definitely selling me on this stuff. I mean, I'm definitely gonna have to track some of this stuff down.
Hell yeah.
All right. So for me, my number eight, I really wish I could have put this one higher, but I have to leave it here where it is. One of my favorite Hammer films, The Brides of Dracula.
It's such a great movie. I just did this with Bo on Dark Parade.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, then you know how much fun this one is. I mean, this is just the Hammer at their best. Gothic atmosphere, tons of glorious castle settings, a fantastic mystery involving the strange man and his mother and their relationship together that just slowly gets exposed over the course of the film. And oh dear God, are those girls gorgeous?
Hell yeah.
I'm almost tempted to just say fuck it. I'm gonna take one for the team and let them take me. Uh, yeah, this is one of my favorite Hammer films. I mean, Cushing is I this is my favorite Cushing film performance of all time. He is just the badass to be all end all badasses in this. I mean, he takes punishment like nobody else I've ever seen as a hero in these kinds of films, and his ingenuity, his deductioning, his reasoning, it's just fantastic. It's the film that makes me love Cushing as a whole, and it's just amazing. I probably would have wanted Lee in this, but I understand why he's not in it because I don't think he would have fit with it. But I love this movie, and I'm sad to put it this low on my list, but number eight.
It's a good one. Like when he does like that Rambo like healing affect when he gets, bit.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that.
It, I love his reaction like it's great. And
And he
like
does
when
that.
he's
Yeah,
talking I'll go
yeah.
ahead.
No, no, I'm just gonna say he does that whole thing where he does that stage acting where he just like throws his neck back dramatically.
Yeah. It's great. And fucking I love the scene where he's like talking to the old lady after she becomes a vampire. And she's like, I don't know how to live. And he's like, oh, well, I can help you with that. I've kind of done this. It's kind of my thing.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, definitely give this one a shot. I think it's pretty like it shows up on TV pretty frequently, but yeah, definitely one of I think Hammer's best.
Yeah, I agree completely. Uh, Good stuff. Terrence Fisher is going strong on Don's list.
Yeah, he's not into doesn't in there, but we'll come to that when we get to it. Let's move to number seven.
All right, number seven. Actually, you know, I tried to keep a lot of Amicus and Hammer off my list, but I couldn't leave this one off because this is the first horror movie I ever seen. And it
Hmm,
is Dr. Terror's House of Horrors,
nice. Yeah.
directed by Freddie Francis, uh, who's usually the king of the British anthologies. He did like Tales from the Crypt later on and a few other ones that I remembered. But yeah, Peter Cushing is Doctor Terror, and he's doing his tarot card thing in the train, and fucking, he tells these tales about these people's deaths, and it's great. I love the story with the weeds, killer plants rule the world. It's great. The hand one's pretty fun. There's fun stories and great casts. You got Christopher Lee, Donald Sutherland in there, which is weird. Well, Amicus kind of dwelled more with American actors, anyways, than Hammer did. But yeah, it's a fun movie and great atmosphere. And um, train horror. They don't really have a lot of horror good. Like, there's a few horror movies on trains, but this was probably one of the better ones. This is better than Night Train or Terror, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. I'd probably put it like maybe second or third on my favorite Amicus list. My all-time favorite is probably Torture Garden.
Also, Freddie Francis, good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, Torture Garden's probably my favorite, and then I think this one, Asylum and Tales from the Crypt are kind of like right there, like they're kind of like that's like 2, 3, and 4 for where I would put them. But yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. Several of the two of the stories, I think you mentioned the weed one, and then the one with Christopher Lee. He's the critic that has the hand chase him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that one there. Those are the two that I love. Those are like probably some of my favorite anthology segments ever. Yeah, the fantastic pick. I love this one. So
it's good shit.
yeah. So I don't know if this will tell anything about my list, but my number 7 is the most recent one on my countdown. It is Shaun of the Dead.
Good movie.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm a big zombie fan. My favorite genre of all time. So zombie comedy done right. Threatening in the last act, but hysterical the first two thirds. Great gore, quotable, just so much fun. And anyone that hasn't seen this one definitely owes themselves to see it. I know zombies have kind of gotten a little bit of traction recently with a couple of big works. Everybody kind of got like zombie fatigue in the last part of the decade, but they're kind of coming back a little bit. And this is one of the bigger ones more recently. So I just love this one. It's just so fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great movie. I don't get a lot of hate. I don't understand. Like, yeah, it's it's like it's not funny enough. Like, it mixes comedy and horror well because the first two acts is where most of the comedy is, but then when shit starts to hit the fan after like uh somebody gets bit and certain aspects of like usual siege zombie movies hits, it starts to get more serious,
Yeah,
which it has to at that point because that's when they have to take this shit more seriously.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. I mean, once they get to the Winchester, then it kind of just drops the comedy altogether. I mean, the only thing that I really think is funny is the God Save the Queen thing where they're beating the guy in rhythm to the drum hits.
don't stop me, now. Yeah, it's great.
I know they're like I said, they're just beating him in tune to the drums, but I'm saying like even that's still kind of threatening because they're trying to stop the zombie from getting them. But yeah, I get where they're coming from. I don't see how you can hate this film. It's just so fun.
Yeah, it's made by people that actually know the genre and love it too. So
Yeah,
people, shut the fuck up.
exactly. Yeah. So let's move to number 6.
Well, I kind of mentioned this guy earlier, Norman J. Warren, and this movie's one that. Yeah, what if somebody from UK did Suspiria, and that is Terror from 1978? Uh, yeah, this is a movie about a soul of a witch that comes back to kill the descendants of the people that put her on the stake. It plays out like a supernatural slasher, and it has very Suspiria like light in colors, and it's fucking nuts because all of a sudden this movie takes place. Like I said, Norman J. Warren, kind of sleazy. There's a whole scene where they go to like this strip club because you gotta have titties in your Norman J. Warren movie. But Yeah, I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love the lighting of this movie. I love the kills. The kills are very inventive. You know, it's very cool. Like there's this one kill setup that takes place in actually the film studio where one of the people works at, and it's fucking cool. It's fucking cool as all hell. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, great atmosphere, great musical score, and I love how this film opens because it actually opens up telling the backstory because they actually made a movie about their ancestors killing this witch.
Nice. This is one of his that I haven't seen. The only films of his I have seen are in Seminoid and Bloody New Year. So it's one I'm definitely interested in getting to. It's just I haven't gotten to it yet, but unlike Pete Walker, I have seen a couple of his. It's just this is the one of them that I haven't yet. So
Yeah, I'm Seminoid, huh? That fucking naked Judy Geeson getting raped by an alien.
oh god. Ugh.
Imagine that
Yeah,
Run Run Sean was involved in that. That's fucking nuts.
oh, that yeah, that was wild when I first saw it because I actually kind of saw that one. Just a little side tangent. I actually saw that one not long after I saw Alien, and then just by sheer coincidence, a couple of weeks after I saw Inseminoid, I managed to find contamination.
Oh,
It was kind of awkward seeing all three of them kind of just like in close proximity to each other.
yeah. Then you just have to end that with Creature from William Moreau, where rapey Klaus Kinski's going around grabbing girls' asses.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I did see Galaxy of Terror, so it's kind of close enough.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's another.
Side tangent. My favorite comment I ever. You know how Dave Parker does those questions of the week,
Yeah.
and he wrote, "What kind of two things would you like to see versus each other from horror movies?" I was like the rape worm from Galaxy of Terror versus the rape fishman from Humanoids from the Deep.
That was good. I mean, it only needed to be a three-way between the rape alien and creepazoids.
Yeah.
Here's a three-way for you.
Poor Linnea.
Yeah. But enough of those side tangents. Let's move on to my number six, which is another Hammer film. No surprise. I went with The Vampire Lovers.
Ooh, Ingrid.
Ingrid, Kate O'Mara, Juliette Morris. Ugh. Yeah, this is a very horny film, and
Yep.
I damn well appreciate it. Um, and yeah, you're gonna go ahead and throw Peter Cushing in there just to kill everybody off at the end. Gothic atmosphere, absolutely tons of sleaze, but it's smart about the way it goes about it because one of the things I love the most about it is just the way Ingrid Pitt just absolutely destroys this family, and she has that smirk on her face the entire time because she knows exactly what she's doing. She's got everybody eating out of the palm of her hand and nobody suspects a thing until the end. And it's just so much fun to watch. I love that part almost as much as her bathing sequences, but we're not going to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, we can go there if you want, because but
Uh,
it's good stuff, man. This movie's awesome.
yeah. I was so shocked that Hammer never really survived the 70s because I thought they could have definitely done that. I thought they could this was probably I would say this was a great blueprint for what they could have done moving the sleaze and the you know moving the gothic atmosphere into sleazier territory with this because all they had to do is just actually show the boobs.
Yeah.
So I mean I don't know why they never really I don't know why they kind of just like stopped when they could have kept on going with this, but Yeah, there's definitely something there that they could have survived the 70s or at least gone a little further. But
Hell,
conversations.
yeah, you
Oh,
like I was gonna say because this movie's definitely probably not on both our lists, but To Devil a Daughter. How they fucking got a way of showing underage Natasha Kinski fully naked is fucking nuts.
I'm still surprised that that film's legal.
Exactly, you know what I
I
mean?
know. I mean, yeah. I mean, like you said. I mean, she had to be what 14, 15 when they filmed it.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. How the hell is that thing legal?
Oh,
uh, uh, yeah. But number six for me, Vampire Lovers. Let's move on to our top fives.
number five. This is a big one. Witchfinder General.
Nice.
Yeah, my one of the Vincent Price's best roles, and he plays like the biggest asshole ever in this fucking movie. It's great. I originally seen this movie under its other title, The Conqueror Worm. Uh, uh, of course, when they were trying to, put it with the Edgar Allan Poe shit. I think even like the version I seen starts with like the actual poem, The Conqueror Worm by Edgar Allan Poe, with Price reciting it. But yeah, this is a great like tale of like this witch hunter who's just the biggest asshole ever, and it's kind of like a revenge movie, which I like because this guy goes out in search of this dude to fucking kill him after what he did to his girlfriend and shit. It's
Yeah.
fucking. I like it a lot. Price is great in it. Fucking the atmosphere is great. Michael Reeves is a director who only directed like 3 or 4 movies in his career because he died young, unfortunately. And some of them kind of goofier. Like he did Sheed Beast with Barbara Steele. Uh, I think before this one, and I think his last movie was actually The Sorcerers with Boris Karloff, which I like a lot. There's some interesting aspects where I want to see. I would have wanted to see what this guy did more of later on in his career if he lived.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I like you. I love all three of his films, but this is probably my favorite. It's on my honorable mentions, so you've taken two of mine. But yeah, this one's so fun. Price is just an absolute spectacular form. I I would dare say that this is probably one of his best performances. I don't understand why everybody always goes after Dr. Phibes as his best role. This one is way better.
Yeah, I would even put like Theater of Blood was better than Doctor. I love Doctor Fives. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
but
I
fucking,
I've said to me, my favorite is Theater of Blood. That's my favorite performance. He's just so over the top, and it is just so much fun to watch because he's in a completely different movie, but his movie is far better than the one that everybody else is in.
yeah,
I love Theater of Blood. That's probably my favorite Price film, to be honest.
yeah, it's up. Yeah, it's great.
But
It's good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, Witchfinder General is a lot of fun. The it, witch brutality just before Mark of the Devil and all that other stuff that kind of came out in the early 70s. Great stuff. It's on my honorable mentions, but yeah, great pick. But my number five, I went with The Wicker Man, and not the not the
It's the bees.
not that version, the good version. Um, the original version. This is so much fun to watch. Just an absolute fantastic fish out of water horror story that I gotta say, when you see that reveal the first time, it's like, what the hell? How the hell is this thing gonna be called the Wicker Man? Like, what's this? Where's the connection to the title? And you see and when you finally cross that cliff and you see the Wicker Man, and you realize, oh my god, ah, just perfection. I love it.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. Uh, I actually, the thing is with the Wicker Man, I personally, it's a one that I watch not as often as other ones on my list. That's why it's not on my. It's an honorable mention for me.
I can
But
see that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not a rainy day. Let's just throw something on for shits and giggles kind of a film.
yeah,
Yeah, I get that. I see where you're coming from.
and the thing about it is there's so many different fucking versions of the movie. I'm like, can we just release
Yeah,
one fucking cut of the movie where it's like the movie's definitive
yeah,
version? Because I'm sick of rebuying this movie for like all the cuts. It's fucking crazy.
yeah. That's kind of a thing. The one that I know of is the 93-minute version. I'm not sure which one that is.
I
I
think
think
that's
that's
the
the standard.
director's cut.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I think that's that version, but I think there's the 99-minute one. I think that's the one that he screened once and he trimmed it down or something, and I think that's the one. If I remember correctly, that he screened it once, and the distributors were like, they can't release this. Like the cut, there's something wrong with the cut. We can't do anything with it, and they ordered him to trim it down, but they still kept the negative.
Hmm.
But the negative that they used was sold to a construction company to use as filler in cement pouring. So they would, when they were constructing highways and like overpasses and stuff, they would use like old film canisters as like stuffing to put around the cinder blocks because it was like really cheap to buy that stuff to like stabilize it. So
Hmm.
they said that the original cut is like somewhere in some like concrete overpass or something. I think that was the story that I heard. I'm not entirely sure. I could be misremembering, but I believe that's where like the full version of the film is. It's like stuck in some British highway. People have been driving on it for like the past 50 years.
That's fucked up.
Like I'm saying, I could have sworn I heard, yeah, either heard about it or read about it somewhere, and somebody mentioned that because it was like it was like a distribution company that had it, and they ended up and they sold like their stock of film to this construction company to fill in like the to like fill in like the parts of their cement things where they were like pouring like the concrete supports and overpasses and stuff like that. So it's like stuck somewhere in some bridge or over like freeway overpass in England somewhere.
That's crazy. I never heard
Yeah.
that story. That's good. I have to look that up now.
I know.
That's
I
crazy.
got it. That's what I'm saying. I could swear it's for this film that I heard it on when some like podcast or something was covering it, and like they like were doing they hosted research and they brought it up on the show. I would I could swear it was based on the Wicker Man when they did that, and that's like one of the reasons why like nobody knows where like the full cut is because it's like stuck in some overpass somewhere.
That's nuts. Yeah. Off here, let me do some research and find that show. I'd like to listen to that podcast.
Yeah, me too. Because I could swear it was based on this one. I don't remember where, but as soon as I heard it, it was like for some reason like that just like clicked with my head as like something to remember about Wicker Man or something. But if I can find it again, I'll definitely pass it along for you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. But enough of that fun. Let's move to our number fours.
Oh boy, another big one for my number four, and that's The Legend of Hell House, of course, directed by John Ho, who weird career because I actually grew up watching this dude's movies because he did the two Witch Mountain movies from the early '70s,
Hmm.
Escape and Return, of course, starring Christopher Lee in Return to Witch Mountain. But The Legend of Hell House is one of my favorite stories ever, of course, written by Richard Matheson, one of the best authors ever. Uh, Great cast in this one. Roddy McDowell just kills it. Uh, I just love the story of this one. I love the atmosphere of the house. One of the best haunted house movies, in my opinion. of this era of the 70s, and uh just hypnotic, and just the whole ending is fucking nuts. When the reveal happens and it's fucking Alfred from fucking Batman. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I've maybe seen this once or twice, and I don't remember much. I do remember liking it now that you're talking about it, so it's probably due for a rewatch. But I wish I would be more familiar with it. But like I said, I've maybe seen it once or twice.
Yeah,
I know what it is because I know that you said Roddy McDowell, and I remember him as like he's part of like the crew of like some like parapsychology team, and they're there to like investigate like the house and.
yeah, he was actually because there was a other team that went in. He's the only survivor of that team.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's why. Okay, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen it, so yeah, I kind of overlooked that. But yeah, I remember because I remember that plot line for the film. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to revisit that one sometime soon because
Yeah,
I remember liking it, but I'm just not familiar enough with it to do anything more than that.
yeah, I feel you. And John Ho, like as a director, I like a lot of his movies. He is the weirdest filmography ever because he went from Legend of Hell House to doing The Incubus from the 80s, which about a penis demon raping women. And then after that he did Howling 4, the original Nightmare.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's
That's my.
great
I love that movie. I almost think that one in some cases is better than the original.
because it's the actual story from the
Well, that's
book.
what I'm saying is that yeah, it's the most literal adaptation of the novel. I love that film, and I no joke when I first saw that I was actually completely like blown away with that "we all live in fear, werewolves are here" reveal. Something
Yeah.
as stupid as that when I first got it, my jaw dropped.
Yeah, I
I
never
was,
got the hate for that one. It's weird that
yeah.
people actually hate that movie.
Yeah, but as I'm saying is that what I'm saying when I first saw that, I mean, it was like just something so corny and so stupid, but just the way that it handled that reveal, it was like my jaw dropped, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I saw it was like the guy gets like the werewolf, he just like rips his skin apart, and he just like completely transforms, and the guy from the Pretender just completely disintegrates and melts into this puddle of goo. Oh god, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, fitting that we're discussing Howling 4 because my number 4 is a werewolf movie. This one is Dog Soldiers.
Oh,
Uh, one of my all-time favorite films. I am just in complete love with this movie. My favorite werewolf film of all time. I love this film. Basically, for the few of you that haven't seen it, a group of soldiers are sent into the Highlands to participate in war games, only to discover that the opposing target has been turned into werewolves and are now hunting them down one by one, forcing them to survive the night. This is just an absolute blast. Uh, Absolutely brutal werewolf attack scenes, over the top gore, fantastic makeup design, one of the greatest jump scares I've ever seen in this genre. That thing just gets me every time, even though I know it's coming. Tons of action, lots of just. It's pure adrenaline, right? And I absolutely adore this movie. It would be higher if there was an on-screen transformation, but can't have everything, unfortunately. So, number 4 for me is Dog Soldiers.
yeah. For the budget of the movie, though, I understand why they didn't do it. And
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't mind actually if they dropped one of the suits and kept if they dropped one of the suits and used that for a transformation, even if it was hokey, I wouldn't have minded. But I understand where they're coming from with it. I'm just saying, as a werewolf purist, for me, making it like a perfect film would be the transformation on screen. So,
yeah,
but I'm like I said, I'm still not mad at it. But like I said, if it was to be perfect, I need that on screen. So it drops just slightly because of that, but I'm still not mad at it because a lot of everything else it does is top notch perfection. So
Yeah, just the way the werewolves move in that movie is fucking creepy as all fuck. Because it's
mm,
a bunch of dancers on stilts from what I remember from the special features of the film when I was researching it. I actually did this on No More Room in Hell a few years back. I think it was one of Venom's picks. But yeah, I love the cast in this movie: Kevin McKidd, Sean Petrie, Liam Cunningham as the fucking asshole. Uh, so I love his like when they find him, he's like, "There was only supposed to be one.
yeah,
There's only supposed to be one." It's fucking great.
yeah, and the what I love about it is the fact that nobody realizes the guy's guts were literally hanging out of him, and yet
Oh,
he's
that whole scene where they're putting his guts back in with the super glue is fucking hilarious. Just fucking punch me.
yeah. I'm just saying is that nobody realizes that his guts are falling out when they find him, and yet at the end he's able to like close the door and you know it's kind of obvious that nobody knew. Uh, yeah, it's a fantastic film. I love it.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but let's move on to number three.
Okay, we're getting a little weird.
Good, we like weird.
Yeah, Ken Russell weird.
Ooh,
Lair of the Lair of the White Worm. Vampire snake people. What's more not to love, right? Oh, this.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say I was gonna those fangs.
Oh, it's fucking great when the reveal happens when she just pops and bites the guy in the dick. Oh, it's fucking. What can I say? Probably for a lot of horror, you know, I actually grew up with a lot of Hugh Grant movies, but I think this is one Hugh Grant movie that I think a lot of horror film movie fans who don't usually like Hugh Grant and his other more romantic comedy side would like him in it because he's kind of a dick and he's kind of funny in it.
Yeah,
you know. But
yeah.
yeah, and Peter Capaldi's great. I love actually, ironically enough, this movie and my second movie kind of have a similar opening where they find something in the ground, and that's what awakens this thing when all hell breaks loose after that. And that might be a little spoiler what my number two movie
I
is.
think I figured it out.
Yeah, but it's like that baser folk horror trope where this ancient deity thing is awoken, and I love that it has like this great cultist played by Amanda Donoghue that's going around making the moves to get it going and kill people that try to stop her. It's great, and she's great. I love that whole scene where she just comes out of that basket and starts fucking dancing like a snake. It's fucking hilarious. It's just
That's
odd.
yeah,
And
it's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan as well. It was kind of on the fringes of like honorable mentions, but it just like fell off at the very end. But I'm a fan of this one as well. It's folk horror. I love. I don't know why, but that damn song that they sing in the middle of this, I I adore that thing. That thing is catchier than hell, and it has no right to be.
oh,
That's
the Danford Worm song, Jim
yeah.
Dunford.
There's no there is no earthly reason for that song to be as catchy as it is, but I love that thing for yeah. I'm a fan as well. That's a lot of fun.
And
Um,
the thing about the movie before we move on that it has some great humor in it, but it also has some scary imagery because whenever she touches something and she sees that weird nightmare fuel of Jesus hanging with a worm and Amanda Donoghue like in the background in fire with the blue face fangs, that shit fucking creeped me the fuck out as a kid. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I
exact
wasn't
yeah.
expecting it.
Yeah, that got me the first time too. Like the first couple times when the like the first one or like the first two dream sequences because you're not expecting it to just like cut to that kind of stuff. But yeah, great stuff. I like it. So my number three, surprise, surprise, we're back at Hammer. We're doing Twins of Evil.
Double titties.
Yeah. Um, this one, much like Vampire Lovers, I think is Hammer's old school formula and the new school mixing together in perfect harmony. I've gotten more into this one recently based on a lot of analysis on all of like the puritanical stuff involving Cushing's character, all of the nonsense that he keeps spouting, and all of the redemption that he faces halfway through the film, where he realizes that he's been duping the people for his own benefit, not realizing it. And he goes after like the real threat, which is the Karnstein character, who's been actually the one that's been killing all these people. uh it's just fantastic. I mean, David Warbeck is in this. You've got you know twins.
Twins. You have the good
twin
twin and the bad twin.
Twins Basil.
Mm.
But yeah, this is I've come around to this one a lot more recently, and I'm just a huge fan of a lot of the gothic atmosphere that Hammer did. I mean, it's all over my list, but uh, I'm really shocked that they never carried on this kind of formula, because I really like a lot of like the early '70s Hammer stuff, not just the Karnstein trilogy, but I mean, even Blood from the Mummy's Tomb is a lot of fun. Vampire Circus is a lot better than everybody gives it credit for. And I even kind of like the 270s Dracula films, Scars of Dracula and Dracula AD 72.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really kind of shocked that Hammer never really kept trying with this kind of like exploitation gothic sleaze that they were doing. But yeah, um, this is a lot of fun. I really recommend this one. Twins of Evil #3.
Yeah, good stuff. Ironically, directed by John Hogue as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did this one too.
Yeah. So you did this, then Legend of Hell House, and Howland 4. Mic drop. Oh,
Yeah,
and Penis Monster movie. That's right, Incubus.
yeah. And kid friendly stuff. We'll throw in Escape and Return to Witch Mountain. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All over the place. It's great.
yeah. So let's move to our terrible twos.
Ooh. Well, I kind of foreshadowed this, but I think Don, you want to take a guess what mine is?
Blood from Satan's Claw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, uh,
Yeah, I kind of figured.
yeah. Just the atmosphere of this one is fucking amazing. The score is just hypnotic. It's kind of eerie. The music to this movie. That's that, and just the main like cultist chick. She's beautiful, but you could tell that she's evil at the same time. It's great. And just the
Yeah.
whole idea of the reveal of what's going on is kind of genius when you kind of figure out because you see like why are they growing this on their body? What the fuck's going on? And then you find out and it's like holy shit, that's fucking dark and awesome at the same time. And then you have one of my favorite British actors of all time, Patrick Wymark, in this movie as the head constable with his glorious wig hair that he has on. And at the end of this movie, he carries a giant cross axe. And all I'm just picturing is Holy Diver by fucking Dio playing in the background whenever he's wielding that thing.
It fits.
And
Yeah.
and that's all I need in my life and it's fucking awesome. The whole end of this movie is fucking dope. Where he's legitimately slaying Satan. My fingers are up. You can't see them, audience, but it's pretty fucking cool. And the thing about this movie that I kind of dug it kind of because this movie actually was going to start out as an anthology, and it does kind of have like an anthology feel to it, and because it's in like segments. But I like how it kind of people might say that it's not connected well, but I like that how disgruntled the town gets as each story goes on within the town. and it kind of adds the chaos of this cult growing bigger too. And I like that aspect of the movie a lot. And yeah, it's folk horror at its best. It's one of the big three, and it
Yeah.
deserves to be.
I completely agree. It's number 11 on my list. Taking all my damn honorable mentions.
It happens.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's just that its atmosphere is fantastic. The discovery, the mystery, everything surrounding it is just incredible. The reveal with the girl and all of the stuff that she's doing to control the townspeople, it's just great stuff. I love this movie too. Number 11 on my list, but yeah.
Good stuff, man. What's your number two, man?
So my number two, this will probably, it may give away my number one based on this, but my number two is one of my favorite Terrence Fisher films. It is The Mummy.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's one of my favorites. One of the best mummy movies, to be fair, too.
I probably even say it is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, this one is just, it's miles better than the Karloff version because the mummy is actually a mummy throughout this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Cushing and Price together on screen. I mean, yeah, it's not their first time, but the way that their interactions together are just amazing. The imagery is just incredible. I love the stockings and the, when it returns to England and you have the mummy walking through the countryside and breaking into houses and trying to, grab everyone, and then nobody's able to stop him. It's just amazing. It's I really just, I can't say enough about it. One of my favorite Hammer films, and yeah, it's just great. Like I said, it's my favorite mummy film of all time. So yeah.
I can't argue with there, man. Like it's one of like probably one of the other like few movies that were like gateway horror movies for me was the original Terrence Fisher's The Mummy. It helped, because I actually seen the Karloff Mummy years ago before I seen this one. I'm like, he's not even the fucking mummy throughout the whole movie. This movie sucks. He's
Yeah.
just a guy in a fucking cane. It's fucking bullshit. Fucking, and with this one, Lee just like, fuck that shit. I'm gonna show Karloff what you do, motherfucker. Even some of the fucking Lon Chaney mummy movies are better than that fucking first mummy movie.
To be honest, I think it's the weakest of the whole franchise.
It's true,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
fucking, it's great. And yeah, like I even love like those flashback sequences with like Egyptian Christopher Lee and shit. It's fucking great.
Oh, those are amazing. They try to make him out like some kind of, Arabic. He has like that Arabic kind of look to him, but it's Christopher Lee, so everything just looks awful.
Yeah, he couldn't be like Paul Nash and just pull it off, you know.
Yeah. So let's dive into our top choices here, because I don't know where you're going with yours. I think you know where I'm going with mine, but I'd love to know your number one.
Okay, man. Very interesting because my number one's a British film directed by a Spanish director, and that's Jose Ramon Larraz's film Symptoms.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen this?
No, I don't know, because I remember I worked with Arrow and they sent me the Blood Hunger trilogy, so
Yeah.
I don't remember if that was one of them.
No, no, no. This was released by Mondo.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like I've
Yeah.
said, the only Larraz stuff I've seen is the stuff from the Blood Hunger set.
Yeah. This is a great little psychological movie. It all takes place in like this one house setting, and it's about this girl whose friend just comes over, and they're talking about like stuff, but her friend is kind of different. She's kind of crazy, and she starts to go crazier, and she's kind of infatuated with her because she's just been stuck in this house ever since a murder happened years ago. and we kind of figure out the friend is trying to figure out what's going on, and she kind of figures out maybe this girl is the cause of the murder, and now she's has her eyes set on her because it's kind of weird because it starts out kind of, oh, hey, how you doing? But then she starts to get touchy feely a little bit more and more, kind of like lesbian overtones, kind of. And
Hmm.
the main actress who plays the girl that's stuck in the house is played by Angela Pleasance, who, for listeners who know, is Donald Pleasance's daughter. And God bless her, she looks a lot like her dad.
Hmm.
So it's kind of terrifying in that sense. But yeah, it's a great little movie. If you like more like psychological horror stuff, I would say it's one of the better psychological horror films with some great atmosphere contained horror because it all takes place really on this one setting with only a few characters. But I really love it. It was lost for years. This movie, it was kind of like a lost film. It was recently found a few years ago in like a vault somewhere and
Hmm.
restored by BFI and Mondo. And yeah, it's I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but that's why I think it's going to be a divisive one that I can see Don either loving or hating this movie, but
Hmm.
I think it should be more well known, and I think it's terrific for the filmmaking styles that Larraz brings to it because he brings that flair of some of his more Spanish films within the film, which I like a lot, and it's just eerie. It's eerie and cold looking the movie.
Hmm. I mean, yeah. My only exposure to him is the Blood Hunger box set, which I think there's like Coming of Sin, Vampires, and
Whirlpool.
Whirlpool. Yeah, I think those are the only three of his I've seen. So yeah, they're intriguing enough to make me want to dive further. So sounds interesting. I'll definitely see if I can try to find it.
Hell yeah, just to see a female version of Donald Pleasance.
My erection is both anticipating and terrified.
Yes.
Okay, so with that, my number one, if you haven't guessed, it's a Hammer film, obviously. But I don't know if you know the actual one. My number one is Horror of Dracula.
Christopher Lee, bitches.
Yep. Like I said, this is one of my favorite vampire films of all time. I'm I just love what they did here. It's another adaptation of the Dracula novel. Nothing we've seen before, but this just works. Cushing and Lee at their best, just bouncing off of each other, just amazing stuff here. All of it though is just overshadowed by what Lee brings to this. This is, I think, one of the best vampire performances ever on screen. It's just savage and feral, and I absolutely love it. And that look, just the first time you see him when he walks into that room and the girl is about ready to bite him, and he just gives her that look and hisses, and she just backs away as if she knows that she just got fucked, and she's not gonna survive the night if she stays, and she just hauls ass out of the room and just runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he just comes in and just scowls at her, and you know, it's just that look. So, but I mean, the atmosphere in this is just utterly fantastic. The action is amazing. The way that they finally defeat Dracula is really inventive. I kind of like that little, chase that they have throughout the castle. Where he finally traps him in the one room and he pulls the curtains down and grabs him. It's just so much fun. Uh, like I said, one of my favorite vampire films of all time, my favorite vampire performance of all time. It's just just hard to top this one.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, man. I own this movie under the UK title, which is just Dracula, under because I have the UK Blu-ray of this, just because it's a
Uh,
lot cooler looking. It has the original poster art.
Oh,
I'll take a
nice.
picture for you later on to show you. It's pretty fucking cool. But the thing I love about this movie is, Dracula's a all time. It's a story that's been told over and over again. So I don't think it's really gonna be a spoiler. But spoiler warning: I love that they fucking kill Jonathan Hawker off in this one because it's a
Yeah.
little bit different. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's one of the. I've always thought it was kind of weird that he was able to survive that encounter with the brides.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's always one part of the story that just never made any sense. Because yeah, I mean, what they do with him, why would he survive? So yeah, killing him off, it adds more urgency to actually to what they're doing because now there's a threat. There's been an actual death in their immediate group,
sure.
so that
Yeah.
just like yeah, it presses them into action a little better. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, something we can debate at another time. But no, I definitely agree with that point. I've always felt it weird that they keep him alive as like Van Helsing's like apprentice or secondary charge or whatever the hell
I
that
must
term would.
say, or as you go in like the Keanu Reeves version of the character, I must save Mina.
Oh God. Uh, but yeah. So that brings us to the list. I mean, you kind of knocked off a bunch of my honorable mentions, but if there's anything you have, feel free.
Sure. I mentioned a few of them while we're talking, like the comeback with the Pete Walker film, uh, Island of Terror, which we just fucking reviewed, which I think
Hmm.
is an underappreciated gem. The Curse of the Werewolf with Oliver Reed, fantastic. It's just a unique take on the werewolf story for me that I dig.
Yeah.
Kill List, Ben Wheatley's Kill List, I love. It was kind of hard because it's nowhere to fit on the list of tens, but it's an honorable mention. The Cottage, which is a kind of under talked about movie, which I seen years ago on it was like on FearNet. Because it's kind of starts out like as a kidnapping movie where these two guys played by Andy Serkis is one of them kidnap this girl, and it slowly turns into a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that one as well. I saw it when I think Duncan was doing his movie club thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was one of his choices. So
yeah, it's kind of under talked about. I think it's a pretty unique movie. I kind of like it because it's good comedic effect too. It's the two main leads of the movie. I like their banter, But
yeah,
also The Wicker Man. Another horror comedy that I really like is Severance. Christopher Smith up in that. A lot of his work I would just put as honorable mention. Because he's a director who's just unique. Like Black Death didn't make my list. That's another one that I fucking love. I used to back in my pot smoking days just watch that and just get sucked into it.
mm,
But Dog Soldiers I love as well. That's you mentioned that it was on my honorable mentions. But that's about it for me. There's probably more. Like I said, I left a lot of Hammer off my list just to make it a
mm.
little bit easier for me and to show other movies too.
Yeah. I mean, I probably could have done that. I mean, I'll probably do a later show where it's top 10 non-Hammer Amicus, so I'll give those other stuff a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely down to, maybe do another show at a later time with somebody else. I mean, I know we just talked about it, so definitely open to doing something like that later on. But I mean, I mentioned there's a couple that I had. Yeah, I love Plague of the Zombies. I love what they do with the creatures there. Really fun, under discussed Hammer film. Um, Moving away, the one I'll mention, I don't know much who have seen it, but a film called Pandemonium from I think like 2 or 3 years ago. Um,
Huh.
yeah, it's a really fun slasher. It's about a group of office workers who are about to call it quits for the day, and they decide to invite a bunch of strippers over, but they end up falling prey to a panda masked slasher villain who goes around killing them one by one.
Oh shit.
It's not like Executive Koala. It's a guy that's wearing a legitimate panda
Yeah,
mask.
yeah, 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 I figured.
Yeah. But the thing of it is it falls under what is known as the Michoverse, which is if I'm remembering correctly, and is I hope I am because I'm just going off of memory here. It is an interconnected series of films that are done by this one studio, Micho Entertainment, where all of their films intersect with each other. So
Uh huh.
they're all in this shared universe. So apparently this is like set in some alternate reality with, and not in like some alternate reality, but like like in the same timeline as like a bunch of other films. So there's like, if I remember, there's like 5 or 6 films, and they all like connect together because they all have like the same killers and the same victims, and it's something that I don't know for sure because I'm not like fully versed in it, but I remember reading about it when I remember watching it. I remember doing writing my review, and I put it online, and it was like, part of like the Maestro verse, and I was like, what is this? And so I looked into it, and it's like some like shared horror cinematic universe or something. I don't know much about it because it's something I haven't like fully delved into, but yeah, apparently it's like some kind of shared horror universe or something.
Well, that sounds interesting. I'll have to look into that myself.
Yeah, but I guess that will wrap up our show. So, Bud, this was so much fun. I'm glad we got to do this.
Yeah, man. Anytime. This was fun. It's nice, easy format. I like that what you're doing with it. You're a great host on, and I had a great time.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you've got welcome invitations back anytime you want. So go ahead and let the listeners know, not just our shows, but anything else you're doing.
Sure. You could find my main show on Cinema Attack, which you can find on Anchor.fm. We're on most podcatchers, but you can find our shows when we post them on the Cinema Attack Facebook group as well. So just join there because we just talk about stuff all the time over there. You can also find me on No More Room in Hell, the main show, which I do with Mike and Mr. Venom. We just released an episode recently of this recording on what was it? Mad Love and Body Parts. I wonder what the theme of that episode was. But yeah, it was pretty fun. Pretty fun discussion. But yeah, look for that. I don't know what we'll be releasing by the time this is released, but always good in the hood there. As always, also we have the sidecast, which I do with Mr. Donanelli, known as Creature Comforts, where after this recording, we recorded an episode on Island of Terror, which is I think that's out by this recording, right, Don? It's out already,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think it was released. For those that don't know, we're recording this on a Sunday. I think that was released either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay, good, good, good. Because it's been a busy week for me, so I haven't kept a lot of track on shows recently.
Yeah, no
Uh,
worries.
yeah, but as also I have a few side casts here and there that I do. Bear Hair, which is on the Cut to the Chase feed. Uh, Blood from the Core, which is on the Legion Patreon feed, and Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space. We might be coming back soon. Who knows? I don't know. My hands are up like I don't know what's going on. But whatever. But that's about it for me. A few guest spots here and there, including this one, of course. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like you. I don't know when we're doing Underwater Kaiju again, but definitely looking forward to it. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. All of his links will be down below in the show notes for you to check out. So if you like this, be sure to follow him and do so. But until next time, I will see you then. Later.